Wake up, babe, it's another day in dystopia. I don't know if you know or not, but the UK government might actually shut this channel down. Because ladies and gents, the UK is out of control. Because imagine being put in handcuffs for a few jokes on Twitter. It is absolutely getting that bad, so hit the like button and subscribe right now if you don't want to miss any new political content I might do. Because I don't know how you wouldn't subscribe. Who else is going to be as honest as me? And who knows, the channel might disappear because of what's going on. Now, welcome to the UK. Ladies and gents, the USSR reboot looks faithful to the original. This time, it's a 2.0. Let's call it UK SSR. Where if you don't follow the party line, then it's off to the Highlands to count trees. Because we in the UK are a lot like the Soviet Union, minus the industrial output and the military power. What you're looking at right now is Kier Starmer. See, let me tell you something. You can't hate this guy enough because he's got a lot to answer for. They do not want us questioning or challenging their stupid little narratives. And the only thing left for Starmer is to cut the sides of his mustache and then he'll look like his idol. You know, the infamous Austrian painter. Now, what I'm about to read you is one of the most absurd and pathetic things the UK government has done. And that's saying something with their illustrious history, because what people said, oh my god, this is going to be a slippery slope. Well, my friends, it's no longer a slippery slope. We're well past that. This is a free fall. Now, keep in mind as I read this, Kier Starmer had the nerve to say, we have free speech in the UK for a long time and it's not going anywhere. Oh, really, fella? We do have a freedom of speech. I guess it just has to be government approved first. Graham Linehan arrested at Heathrow for over-X post. Father Ted co-creator Graham has been arrested at Heathrow Airport on suspicion of inciting violence in relation to his posts on X. Oh my god, this government is an utter disgrace and needs to be thrown out immediately. And by the way, I'm reading this article from the BBC, which stands for British Brutal Censorship. He was arrested by 5 officers after arriving on a flight from the US, and said in an online Substack article that officials then became concerned for his health after taking his blood pressure and then took him to the hospital. Graham said in an online article on Substack that his bail condition stipulates he is not to go on Twitter, and that his arrest related to 3 posts on X from April on his views about challenging trans-identified male in a female-only space. I don't even know what that last sentence even means. The arrest prompted a furious backlash from figures including author J.K. Rowling. Can you imagine being escorted by armed police from an airport because of a tweet? Not only is that despicable, that's also very embarrassing. I mean, the police are wasting their time with this. I mean, if you're a UK citizen, you must be filing your papers to get a visa to get the out. Because how many times do we see real crime ignored? How many times do we see shoplifting from criminals? Every time you go outside, according to the police, that's a waste of time to take care of. Because didn't you know that takes time, effort, and priority over less serious crimes, such as robbery and the other violent crimes out there, even though those things are at an all-time high right now. But they'd much rather spend taxpayer money on this kind of ridiculous nonsense. Look, if you're a store, you might as well resort to civil action against these offenders due to the police's reluctance to prosecute these savages. And you know what's funny about this whole thing? This is totally going to backfire because it's going to radicalize a lot of youth against the government. Just beautiful stuff, bravo. Anyway, let's get back to the article. Graham shared screenshots of the posts he said he was arrested for on Substack, the subscription-based online platform. I can't even believe I'm saying those words. Can you imagine being in the police force and being told by one of your superiors, this is your next task? Grab 5 of your other officers and arrest somebody very, very, very important. And you're like, wow, okay, who is this person? And they tell you, oh, he just made some jokes on Twitter. What the f***? Would sign my resignation right then and there. The police should be able to use their own judgment and not be told what to do by the government all the time. Maybe you can use your better judgment and not go this far. Anyway, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the UK government said having fun is now illegal. Anyway, the first post from his X feed called it a violent act for a trans-identified male to be in a female-only space. He suggested make a scene, call the cops, and if all else fails, punch him him in the balls. That's very clearly a joke, but apparently telling the truth is gonna get you arrested. If this isn't living under a tyrannical government, I don't know what is. Because this is how tyranny takes shape, by the way. And what's even more frightening than what they're doing is the fact that so many people seem to be supporting the current regime in the UK government. Whether it's what they're doing with this fella or the UK Online Safety Act, so many people seem to be supporting them. I can't imagine that. But arresting a man for those tweets is utterly ridiculous if you agree with him or not. Because that's not even the point. You can't have that being called a serious crime worthy of an arrest by 5 officers. But everybody should be understanding this fact. Free speech means unrestricted freedom to state whatever they wish regardless of political correctness. And you know, when I stand back and really think about it, George Orwell was right. We should tip our hats to the novelist George Orwell for 2 of his books, 1984 and Animal Farm. But 1984 is definitely the blueprint for the UK government using it for their constant overreach. 2025 is just waiting to be written by Kier Starmer. He then wrote on Substack that his police interview following the arrest, I explained that the punch tweet was a serious point made with a joke and that it was about the height difference between men and women and certainly not a call to violence. Yeah, we know, we could tell from the tweet. Anybody who read it can see that it's clearly a joke, except for the UK government. I wonder why. I hope he sues the pants out of everybody in that government and gets millions of dollars or pounds in compensation. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened to this guy was a complete deplorable act on a historic scale. The entire world is roasting the UK government for this. Maybe this will be a turning point, as there is a complete condemnation from everybody around the world and a complete embarrassment upon us. But I understand what the UK government is doing. They want the general public to be so docile to the point of acceptance, so that stuff like this happens so routinely that the general public just accepts it as normal. It's some kind of grand plan of conditioning. Anyway, his second post from X appeared to be an aerial shot of a group of protesters in the town center, and he called it a photo you can smell. Oh my god, how terrible! Oh, throw him in jail and throw away the jail. Grow the up. That is the most tame thing in the world and they somehow got offended. This is absolutely humiliating for the people who are offended by this, because they think they can go through life and not expect to be offended or insulted at times. It happens. It's funny. We all love to laugh. Believe it or not, making people laugh and laughing at situations is a very important part of society. You can't just wave your hand and expect people to disappear for making jokes. But this is where we are at the moment. Can you imagine living in a society where those jokes, humor, criticism, and at times insults are outlawed by the government, and if you do it, you are going to be taken away by several police officers? I mean, seriously, what are we doing here? At some point, we need to tell them enough is enough, because clearly voting isn't fixing any of this. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Phillip called Graham's arrest totally disproportionate, especially given that police don't often bother to show up when shoplifting, phone theft, etc. He said, this strikes me as an absurd infringement of speech. The police should focus on catching real bad guys, and I agree. That's exactly what I said, amen. The Irish comedy writer who also created the IT Crowd and Black Book said when he stepped off the aircraft, 5 armed police officers were waiting to tell him he was under arrest. It sounds like a nightmare. Oh my god, you know what? The UK is finished. I need to do myself a favor and leave while I still can, because apparently there's no way I can vote my way out of this. There's very clearly an agenda. They don't give a about the regular ordinary people. And on that bombshell, I've kind of narrowed down my search for an American property. It might be in Florida. Who knows? Let me know in the comments what you think. Manix out.